Hello everybody, how you all doing? My name is Rafael and welcome to the channel. Today I'm super excited because I finally managed to put together the skill build, the explosive skill build to be more precise, that I was testing out on the PTS for season 10, and I finally managed to find two good Brazos the Arquebus species. Not as good as I would like them, but still this build is extremely close to being exactly the way I wanted it to be when I first thought about it 2 months ago. That's the reason you haven't been seeing any builds with Brazos the Arquebus species on them on my channel, simply because this brand set has been really hard to find for whatever reason. The rolls are simply not what I need. But anyways, I finally managed to put together my favorite explosive skill build with Seeker Mines and Sticky Bomb. As you already watched from the gameplay, we have a lot of things to talk about, so let's get right into it. This build is all about our Seeker Mines and our Sticky Bomb. Something that I don't do that often is that I have no talents that affect my cooldowns. You know, most likely in most of my Seeker Mines / Sticky Bomb builds, you would see me go with skilled or with calculated, so I can reduce my skills cooldowns. I didn't do this time because I thought to myself, let's invest as much skill haste as possible on attributes and gear mods and see how much extra damage we can get from our talents for our skills. So one of the most important parts of this build is of course the capacitor. The reason for that of course is its talent. Shooting enemies build stacks to a cap of 40. Each stack grants 1.5% skill damage. After 5 seconds, stacks decay 1 per second. So basically, at 40 stacks, we're going to be getting a nice 60% skill damage, which is gonna increase our Seeker Mines and Sticky Bomb damage output. But we're not done. For each skill tier, gain 7.5% weapon damage. We have 5 skill tiers, so that's equal to 37.5% weapon damage for our capacitor. As you can see here, I'm getting an additional 8% for my expertise. This of course will be different depending on your personal expertise level. Moving on to the most important part of this build is the Memento. Memento is going to be giving us 3 core attributes, 1 red, 1 blue, 1 yellow. We have a 12% skill haste attribute. We're going to talk later about our gear mods, but most importantly, let's talk about Memento's talent. You all know the long-term buff of the Memento. At 30 stacks, the Memento is going to be giving you 30% weapon damage, 3% armor regeneration, and 30% skill efficiency. Let's start from the weapon damage. The weapon damage, 30%, pretty straightforward. It's like having 2 extra red cores, so it's going to help us with our damage output. Moving on to the 3% armor regeneration, we have 1.1 million armor, so 3% of that. It's not, a huge amount, but at the same time, it's not like it's going to be unnoticed. We're playing with glass cannon, as you might have already seen. So we want that 3 armor % regeneration to make sure that it keeps us in a fight. It keeps giving us some extra armor. And if we chill behind cover for a couple of seconds, we know that we're going to be having a constant source of armor regeneration. The most important thing, however, is the 30% skill efficiency. 30% skill efficiency, 1% actual skill efficiency translates to 1% skill damage, 1% skill haste, 1% skill duration. It's like weapon handling, but for skills. So at 30 stacks, we're getting an extra 30% skill damage, a 30% skill haste. That's the 2 big ones that we're really interested in. Now, Memento is not done. This is going to be one of the very few times that I actually put a build together for the Memento that I'm actually going after the short-term buffs. Most of my videos, you've heard me actually say that the short-term buff, it's nice, but even if you don't pick it up, it's not the end of the world. Well, here, again, it's not the end of the world. However, picking it up is going to give you a significant damage boost. By picking up the short-term buff, you're going to be getting 25% skill efficiency, 20% bonus armor and 5% weapon damage. Obviously, the thing that I'm really interested in this build is not the weapon damage or the 20% bonus armor, but it is the extra 25% skill efficiency. The reason for that is that we're gonna get an additional 25% weapon skill damage, and another 25% skill haste, which is gonna help us a lot. with that 25% extra skill damage from the short-term buff of the Memento, we're gonna be able, our Sticky Bomb actually is going to be able to hit for over 10 million. So, in case you can pick those bad boys up, make sure you do so. Moving on, we have two Grupo Sombra pieces. Why? Because we want the explosive damage. Both Secret Mines and Sticky Bomb damage scales, both of skill damage, but also explosive damage. So we want the explosive damage. First Brancet bonus is 15% critical hit damage, which also goes nice for our capacitor. As you can see here, core attributes, skill tier, skill damage, skill haste. Moving on to the second Grupo Sombra piece are my knee pads. Again, skill tier, skill haste, 5.5% critical hit chance. Then we have the one and only China Light piece, again for the 15% explosive damage. We're already sitting at 30% explosive damage. We have one skill tier, 10% skill damage, 6% critical hit chance, and another skill haste gear mode, 11.9. The talent here is Glass Cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 25%. All damage you take is amplified by 50%. Now, I want to be extremely clear about this one. You don't have to use Glass Cannon. I know that Glass Cannon is a very controversial skill. Some people love it, some people hate it. I am one of those players who, if I can use it, I'm gonna use it. I don't avoid it as much as others are, and I can say that I kinda enjoy it. Of course, if you don't want to use it, other great options would be, I mean, you don't have that many great options, if I'm being honest here, because Glass Cannon is going to be giving us 25% amplified damage both for our skills but also for our weapon. The closest thing to that is going to be Overwatch, which however is going to be offering us only 12% increased skill damage and 12% increased weapon damage, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. There we go. After staying in cover for 10 seconds, increases you and your allies' total weapon and skill damage by 12% as long as you remain in cover or in a cover-to-cover move. That's the next closest thing to Glass Cannon. Kinetic Momentum is not going to be giving you the weapon damage. What else? Obliterate is not going to be giving you the skill damage. So really, the next best thing is Overwatch. However, the damage difference between the Overwatch and the Glass Cannon is going to be noticeable. What should you do in case you cannot play with Glass Cannon? Obviously, go for the Overwatch. Glass Cannon affects your survivability by a lot. I'm fine with it. I can live with it. I can survive, so I don't mind using it. Obviously, if you cannot, go and use the Overwatch talent, and yes, your damage is gonna be lower, but at least you're gonna be able to stay alive, so you know, that's something, right? Moving on to the two remaining pieces, we have the two Brazos D Arquebus pieces. We want the 10% skill haste from the Brancet, but most importantly, we want that +1 skill tier that it comes with. On my first item, we have a skill tier for its core attribute. I'm apologizing for that dog barking. I don't know if you can hear it. My fucking neighbor doesn't know how to control his pets. Moving on, we have, as I was saying, sorry, I got sidetracked there. I have a skill tier core attribute, and then we have 6% critical hit chance, 9.5% skill haste, and 12% skill haste as our gear mode. Obviously, the 9.5% skill haste can be improved. The last piece of this build is, of course, the Picaros holster. Why? Because it comes with a 15% weapon damage, which is pretty much an entire red core attribute. We have 12% skill haste here, and then we have another core attribute of armor. Now, if I'm being honest with you, if the developers have actually fixed the damn thing, I would most likely go with the red core attribute here for the extra 15% weapon damage. However, I mean, there is no point into going with skill tiers simply because, you know, we already have maxed out skill tiers. However, since our lovely developers for 58 days now since Season 2 came out haven't been able to add a fucking red core attribute on the Picaros holster, I'm trapped into using it with blue core attribute with the extra 170k armor. At first, I was really bummed about it, but then as I got into playing, I realized that it goes well because it increases the armor generation that I'm getting. The armor generation on the Memento is based on your total armor. If you have 1.1 million armor, like I do here, 3% is going to be much more than if you have 700k armor. So obviously, what I'm trying to say here is that it fits the build really well. And now that I think about it, if I could change this blue core attribute to red, I wouldn't do it most likely. So that's it when it comes to pieces. However, we have a couple of more things we need to talk about. Let's take a look at our skills. Seeker Mines, 6% skill haste, 1 cluster mine, 6% skill haste. The cooldown here says 22.2 seconds, but that's without any memento trophies. That's very important. You see, I have no memento trophies. Let me actually go into the shooting range so you can be certain about it. But I have been recording here for 16 minutes, so even if I had, they should be gone by now. There we go. No trophies, as you can see. And the cooldown here is 22.2 seconds. This goes all the way down to 19 with the long-term buff of the memento being maxed out. And if you pick up a trophy and get the short-term buff bonus from it, the extra 25% skill efficiency, meaning 25% skill haste, for a couple of seconds there, you're gonna be having even lower cooldowns. The same of course applies to the sticky bomb. Sticky bomb here says cooldown 5.1 because I'm in the shooting range and the game hates me right now. Again, 5.1 seconds. There we go. Sticky Bomb, 4.6% skill haste, 5.1% blast radius. Cooldown on it says 15.3 seconds. This one goes all the way down to 12 seconds if I remember correctly, when you have all your 30 long-term buffs stacks, for the long-term buff of the memento. And obviously if you pick up another trophy and you get the short-term buff, that is gonna be even lower for a couple of seconds. As you can watch right now on your screens, I am at the shooting range with 30 stacks on my long-term buff on the memento. I have no short-term buff, obviously, because I am inside the shooting range. My Seeker Mines hit anywhere from 3 million to like 5 maybe. I cannot really see simply because the numbers are going off so fast. My eyes are not that good, but somewhere around that range. And then my Sticky Bomb hits for like 9.1 million, 9.2 million, something like that. That's with the 40 stacks of the capacitor and the 30 stacks on the long-term buff of the memento. If you pick up a short-term buff while you're doing a control point, then you're going to be able to see your Sticky Bomb hitting higher than 10 million. Now, the only recommendation that I have is in case you want to use this build. Oh, something I forgot actually about my skills. My Sticky Bomb is an expertise level 5 and my Seeker Mines are an expertise level 4. It's not that huge, however, if I don't mention it, somebody is gonna go down below in the comments. Oh, you have very high expertise level, that's why your skills are hitting so hard and mine don't. So yeah, I want to be clear about that. Now, the only suggestion that I have for this build when it comes to changing out pieces is if you decide to go on a legendary where you're going to be picking up less trophies because you're going to be in a group, because this build is actually viable both in solo heroic content but also on legendary content, group content most likely. I was actually crazy enough to go with this build in solo legendary in District Union and I was doing quite fine, as you can see now from the gameplay in the background. However, what went wrong is, you see, they threw 2 nades at me and I died because I have glass cannon on it. So maybe if someone is good enough of a player, can avoid all the explosions coming his way, he can actually complete a legendary with this build all by himself. I don't think I can do it, but I like to try. So yeah, as I was saying, however, if you decide to go to legendary where the memento trophies are going to be harder to get, my recommendation for your backpack would be to get yourself a wyvern piece for the 10% skill damage from the branched bonus. Attributes, of course, 1 skill tier core attribute, and then for the rest of the attributes, maxed out skill damage and maxed out skill haste. And for the talent, get yourself perfect combined arms, which is going to increase your skill damage by 25% every time you shoot at someone. Or you can go with the named Hana U piece, the force multiplier, there we go, which comes with the perfect combined arms, which instead of 25% skill damage for 3 seconds, is going to be giving you 30% skill damage for 3 seconds, and it comes with a brand set bonus of 10% skill haste. Those two are the best options in my opinion. The Memento, however, is gonna outdamage both of them if you play the right way and if you use both the long-term buff and the short-term buff. Don't forget to go with the Demolition specialization for the 10% extra explosive damage and the ability to ignore one explosive attack on you once every 60 seconds. That's going to be very beneficial to you because we're going with a glass cannon. Explosive attacks can be lethal. So yeah, the video turned out to be super long. I wanted this to be like somewhere around 12-13 minutes and I think we are at 18 already. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that you liked the build. If you did, please make sure to drop a like and to subscribe for more content. You can join the community Discord I started very recently. When we get some more people in there, I'm planning on creating some legendary runs, some raids, some live streaming events and things like that. Feel free to join. The link is going to be down below in the description. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye bye.